Have you ever wondered if your tax money is being spent fairly? This video dives into a heated debate across the country about whether prisoners should receive gender transition surgeries funded by taxpayers. While the Skylar DeLeon case brings this issue into sharp focus, our discussion goes beyond one individual, delving into the broader implications of human rights, justice, and public spending. Join us as we unpack the layers of this complex issue, hearing from various voices that reflect the deep divisions and concerns it raises. 1. The revelation. The evening news was on and a lot of people were watching. The news anchor, a serious-looking woman, started the show with big news that got everyone talking. She said, "Tonight, we're looking into a very controversial decision. Skylar DeLeon, who is in prison for murder and on death row, has had a gender transition surgery paid for by taxpayer money." This news made many people upset and started a huge discussion. In homes and places where people gathered, you could hear different opinions. In one house, a dad was really annoyed. He couldn't believe his tax money was used for this. His daughter, however, thought it was a good thing. She believed everyone, even prisoners, deserved medical care. In a community center, people who supported human rights were gathered. They held signs and talked loudly about how important it was for everyone to get the medical help they needed. But nearby, a woman held a picture of a crime victim, feeling forgotten and upset. She whispered, "What about the victim's rights?" This news had started a big debate that spread throughout the country. 2. The public outcry. After the news broke, people everywhere started talking about it. Opinions were strong and emotions ran high. In a busy cafe, a group of friends debated heatedly. "Why should our money go to someone like DeLeon?" one asked, frustration clear in his voice. Another friend, sipping her coffee, countered, "But isn't it about basic human rights no matter who it is?" Online, social media was buzzing. Posts and comments flew back and forth. Some people shared angry emojis and wrote about how unfair it felt. Others argued that denying medical care was wrong, no matter the person's past. At a town hall meeting, the room was packed. One after another, people stood up to speak. A man in a blue sweater said, "We need to think about safety and what's right." A young woman replied, "But we also need to be humane and fair." The debate was everywhere, on TV, online, and in the streets. Everyone had something to say about whether taxpayers should pay for surgeries like DeLeon's. 3. The political arena. The debate quickly caught the attention of politicians. At a press conference, a well-known politician stood in front of reporters. She spoke clearly, trying to explain the government's position. "We are committed to following the law, which includes providing necessary medical care to all prisoners," she stated, hoping to calm the growing controversy. Reporters fired questions one after another. "How can you justify spending taxpayer money on a murderer?" one reporter asked aggressively. The politician responded, "It's not about the crime. It's about upholding our legal and ethical obligations to all human beings." The issue was hot on social media too. The politician's speech was shared many times, with lots of people commenting. Some praised her for standing up for human rights, while others were angry, saying the government was out of touch with what regular people want. Back in her office, the politician met with her team. "This is a sensitive issue. We need to handle it carefully," she advised her advisors, aware that her words could influence public opinion significantly. Inside the prison walls. Inside the prison, the announcement echoed through the halls, reaching the ears of inmates and sparking a flurry of reactions. In the dimly lit common area, a small group of prisoners gathered to discuss the news. The atmosphere was charged with a mix of hope and skepticism. One inmate, who identified as transgender, spoke up with a sense of newfound optimism. "This surgery is more than just medical care. It's a recognition of our humanity," she explained, her eyes bright with the possibility of change. "It's a significant step forward for people like me. It shows that even in here, our rights and identities are being recognized." However, not all shared her enthusiasm. A burly man across the table countered her points with a furrowed brow. "I get that it's important for you, he said, his voice tinged with frustration. But what about the rest of us? They focus on these high-profile cases and surgeries, but we're all struggling. Where's the support for programs that help every inmate here get better, learn skills, or prepare to rejoin society? Their conversation was a microcosm of the larger debates happening outside. As they talked, other inmates listened, some nodding in agreement, others whispering their own concerns. It was clear that the policy had ignited a complex dialogue about fairness, rights, and what rehabilitation should look like in the penal system. Some saw it as a progressive move towards inclusive health care, while others felt it highlighted disparities and neglect of broader rehabilitative needs. 5. Legal perspectives. The moderator opened the discussion. Let's talk about the legal aspect of providing gender transition surgeries to inmates. What does the law say? One lawyer, wearing glasses and holding some papers, spoke first. The law requires us to provide essential medical care to all inmates. This includes gender-affirming surgeries, which courts have recognized as necessary medical treatments. Another expert, a seasoned attorney, added, "It's about constitutional rights. Denying these surgeries could be seen as cruel and unusual punishment, which is against the law." The discussion got intense as they debated. But should taxpayers be responsible for these costs? One expert questioned, raising ethical concerns. The lawyers agreed that it was a tough issue. They explained that if the government didn't provide these surgeries, it could face lawsuits that might cost even more money. It's not just about ethics, it's also about economics, one concluded. 6. Financial analysis. Next, the documentary introduced a financial analyst who was ready to break down the costs involved. Standing in front of a large screen displaying charts, she began, "Let's look at the money side of this issue. It's not just about the cost of the surgeries themselves." She pointed to a graph showing two lines, one for the cost of surgeries and another for potential legal fees if inmates sued the government for denying them medical care. Here you can see that funding the surgeries might seem expensive, but if we don't provide them, legal battles could cost even more. The analyst explained that it's also about saving money in the long run. By providing necessary health care now, we might avoid higher health care costs later. It's complicated, but we have to consider all the factors. 7. Family impact. The camera showed a quiet living room where a family sat together, a photo of a loved one displayed prominently on the wall. A woman, her voice trembling with emotion, shared her thoughts. "It's hard to understand," she began. "My brother was a victim, and it feels like his rights are forgotten when we talk about providing expensive surgeries for the person who hurt him." Then, the scene shifted to another home, where the family of a transgender inmate expressed a different kind of pain. A mother spoke up, "For my child, receiving medical care in prison is a matter of survival. It's about ensuring they can live as their true self, even behind bars." The documentary highlighted how these policies affect families differently, stirring deep emotions on all sides. One side felt overlooked by the justice system, while the other saw a glimmer of hope in what often feels like a dark situation. As we end our look into this tough issue, we find ourselves thinking deeply about all the different views we've heard. We've heard from many people, each with their own story and opinion. What we decide about this will show a lot about who we are as people. Please like, subscribe, and share to keep the conversation going, and stay updated on more discussions like this.